Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another book recommendation video. This time I'm going to talk about some Kindle Unlimited books that I've read recently that I definitely recommend. So without further ado, let's just hop into the video. So the first book I want to recommend is Love at First Bite by Carrie Aarons. This is a contemporary standalone novel. I actually did a whole reading vlog about this, so if you want to see my full thoughts as I was reading it, make sure you go check out that video. But this book follows Molly and Smith. Molly is a school teacher and Smith is a restaurant owner in New York City. Molly had big plans to have a summer in the Hamptons with her boyfriend and his circle of friends as part of a house share, but then her boyfriend completely blindsides her and breaks up with her and tells her he's moving to Singapore. Molly isn't sure if she should continue and go to the house share, but her best friend, who is also part of the summer plans, convinces her that she should go anyways. Smith has been in love with Molly since the first time he met her. The only problem is that Molly was his best friend's girlfriend. So in order to pretend he didn't like her and keep his feelings in check, he decides to pretend to hate her, and he pretends to hate her and is always constantly getting on her nerves. But when he finds out that Molly is now single and he's going to have to spend the summer with her at the house share, it's going to be a lot harder for him to keep up the charade. I absolutely loved Molly and Smith. Both the characters were just so cute, and you could just feel like the chemistry between the two of them, and you just can't help but root for both of them because they're both going through such a hard time. Like, she's going through this hard breakup and he has actually just lost his twin sister, so you really just want them to have the best and have their happily ever after. You can't help but root for them. It's so cute, and I just really liked this one. The next book I want to recommend is Before Us by Julianne. This is another contemporary standalone novel, and this one follows Emerson and Zach. Emerson has been going through a really tough time, and her luck is finally starting to look up when she gets hired by the Hayes, which is Zach and Susie. But she has no idea how much of an impact she's going to have on their life and how they're going to impact her life. She becomes best friends with Susie, who is dying of cancer, and becomes friends with Zach along the way as she's cleaning their house. I don't want to say too much about this because I think that the actual synopsis for this book actually gives a lot away. It gives away like the first half of the book, so I don't want to include too much in the synopsis, but just know that this book is very angsty. It's so beautifully written. Julianne is so good at writing such emotional books that you can't help but just fall in love with the characters. I don't even know what else to say, but I just don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to give anything more away than that. But just know it's very good and you should definitely pick it up. The next book that I want to recommend is Not the Marrying Kind by Catherine Nolan. This is another contemporary standalone novel. It follows Fiona and Max. Fiona is a type A personality, lawyer, and a lover of punk music because her parents were in a punk band growing up, but because of the way her parents raised her on such a go with the flow attitude, she's become very much a type A spreadsheet loving woman, and she's accomplished all her goals that way except for one, which is to find a man and get married. So she has this whole plan at the beginning to find her husband. Max is a very much free-spirited individual. You can't really tie him down. He's constantly moving, but then he goes back to New York City in order to help his dad because he's been in a little bit of a bind for money and in a little trouble legally because of not paying rent. So he goes back to help his dad, who owns the punk club that Fiona's parents have been playing at since it's basically opened. So at that club, Fiona and Max end up bumping into each other again and meeting again, since they knew each other when they were kids because of both of their parents are sort of in the punk world, and Max is trying everything he can to get with Fiona, but Fiona's on a mission to only find a husband, so she's not entertaining any sort of just like hookup or any, and she knows that Max is not a commitment kind of guy. They end up teaming up together in order to put on a benefit concert to save the Red Room and spending a lot of time together. This book was just so much fun. You can palpably feel the chemistry between the two main characters. They have very good banter. They're very witty with each other, which comes from like sort of knowing each other for a long time and both being in the same sort of world. It's very angsty. There is a lot of back and forth, but it is a very much a happily ever after. And this book is just it's just a lot of fun. You get to like see the punk music world like a little bit in New York City, and there's a lot of history in that, and yeah, it's really well written too. The next book is the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac series. This is a fantasy romance series by Suzanne Valenti and Carolyn Peckham. I could recommend the Zodiac Academy books, but I feel like everyone has read those at this point, and I feel like not enough people have read the sort of prequel series, which is Ruthless Boys, and because I just like this series so much, even more than Zodiac Academy. So if you love Zodiac Academy, please read this series. It's so well done. It's a why choose romance that follows Elise Callisto, who enrolls in Aurora Academy after her brother's death. She is on a mission to find out who killed her brother, and the only clue that she has is that it was a king. There's actually 4 kings at Aurora Academy, but she's not sure whether she should take that sentence literally as a king or if it's something else. So she enrolls at Zodiac Academy under an alias and sort of infiltrates each of the king's hearts in order to find out information for her brother. I don't want to go into any more detail than that because I don't want to do any spoilers, because this was my #1 books from 2022 is these series. So I really want to recommend it because I feel like not enough people have read this series. If you love Zodiac Academy, you'll love this series even more. If you haven't read Zodiac Academy, you don't need to read the books. These are completely like in a standalone. It's just some of the characters in Ruthless Boys come up in Zodiac Academy, and it just takes place in the same sort of world. And last but not least, I want to recommend Come Back For Me by Corinne Michaels. This is the first book in the Arrowwood Brothers series. This is a small town series with the secret baby trope, so if you don't like that trope, maybe this won't be the one for you, but I personally really liked this book. This book follows Ellie and Connor. Ellie and Connor first meet at a club 8 years ago, and they end up hooking up in a closet there because they just have an immediate attraction to each other. But Connor has to go away on deployment, and actually the next day is Ellie's wedding. They reconnect when Connor has to move back in order to inherit his father's house in the town he grew up in, and each of the brothers has to spend, I think it's like 6 months in the house in order to get the land in 2 years. So each brother has to spend 6 months in the house in order to get the inheritance. So he does the first 6 months where he finds out that he lives across the street from Ellie, and he has not been able to stop thinking about her since that night. So when he finds out that she's married, he also just wants to be friends or be in her life in any way that he possibly can. And it's just very cute. Make sure you check trigger warnings for this book because there are some on-page triggering moments for domestic violence, as well as like alcoholism and things of that nature, so make sure you check trigger warnings for that. But I definitely recommend this book, and I need to pick up more Corinne Michaels books because the writing in this book is very just well written. Okay, so that's all the books that I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below what your favorite Kindle Unlimited romance book is that you've read lately, or any Kindle Unlimited book that you've read lately. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.